Hey everyone on YouTube. I'm your player one, Oscar. Wow, everyone's just creasing. I'm your player one, Oscar, the games editor on the magazine. I'm joined by my player two, Ian Dean.
Oh, hello.
I'm leaving a pause for you to, and my player three,
Jess Kinghorn, staff writer.
And we're here to talk a little bit. Well, I'm here to talk a little bit about Hitman the Third. Hitman 3, which I've been playing. I'm not sure. I think I can say how long I've been playing the game for, and it is a long time, many hours. I'll say that much, because we've got access to a large chunk of the game. As you know, Hitman is all about replayability, so I've replayed the missions many times that we can talk about, which is the first two in the game, and also I've replayed previous missions from Hitman and Hitman 2 through Hitman 3 with all of the tweaks that comes with.
So what's been the biggest hit you've done? What's the best hit in Hitman 3?
Well, so I'm going to preface this with a couple of things. All of the footage on screen is B-roll, so this isn't my playthrough. So don't expect things to match up to what I'm talking about. And we can only talk about the Dubai mission and the Dartmoor mission. One of the biggest standouts to me was the first mission, Dubai.
Welcome to Dubai, 47.
It's not just like a normal tutorial mission, if that makes sense. It hits the ground running with here's a big proper mission. It tutorializes elements through that first mission. There's a bit where you kind of need to enter the tower and you start on the outside. You skydive in and you're climbing around the outside, which is cool.
So what do you use to kill people? So what did you use to get your hit? Are there any quirky weapons, or is it?
As they said at the interview with us ages ago, you can push someone off the tower, which is great. There was one where I basically I disguised up, and there was a man who I had to kill. He was unaware of me. Well, he was aware of me, but he wasn't aware of what I was about to do. And you can kind of lure him to peek over the edge a little bit, and obviously you can just punt him off. Which is great.
Can you stand there and watch him? Can you stand there and watch him fall?
I don't think I saw him fall all the way, but I did watch his body sort of ragdoll quite a few, and it kind of went past where I could see with the camera. You can look down quite far, and it is a bit dizzying because there are parts. There's a lot of different routes because the Dubai mission is a full-on proper mission with there's different levels. There's an art show going on. And then there's a penthouse at the very top, which is obviously very high secure. You can kind of open up a bunch of windows using the new camera. So there's a camera now, which you can use to just take photos, but you can also use it to hack stuff from a distance. And there's lots of quirky things to find. There is the exploding golf ball does make a return in the Dubai mission.
Oh, I think I overheard an NPC talking about that.
I thought about what you said. Yeah, I changed my mind. It was an insane idea to start with. Exploding golf ball. I don't want blood on my hand.
Yeah, so it's the same kind of thing where it's there's both mission stories to follow where you overhear stuff like that, but then there's also other NPCs talking that kind of give you hints of things to check out that are less categorically mission chain elements. It's someone being oh yeah, buying the exploding golf ball is a stupid idea, but I put it in the closet for now.
Just in case, you never know, you might need it. I'm just saying.
But yeah, there's tons to do in Dubai. It's really impressive. From doing things like that to disguising as a personal security guard, and then posing as your target's bodyguard, and then obviously you can get them. Another one where there's this is quite an interesting one where I don't want to just spoil stuff, but there's so basically there's another assassin who's also there, let's say.
Oh, what?
And another assassin, and you can kind of replace him a little bit. It's all disguises and all of that kind of fun.
Can you enable him? I guess. Can he help? Can he take out the hit for you, and you just kind of enable him and drop him in at the last minute?
No, he's there for different reasons.
In the shadows, behind the everyday world, beyond the headlines and the seats of power, a hidden hand.
Hitman 3 is very much the third game in the series. It's still the Hitman that you come to love through Hitman and Hitman 2. The changes feel, I suppose, a little bit less dramatic or a little less subtly dramatic than from Hitman to Hitman 2, like the mirrors or.
What I was most like struck by was how like it does feel a step up presentation wise, obviously, because Hitman 2 had we all remember Hitman 2's cutscenes. Well, they didn't go back to that. They are like, you know, fully realized cutscenes here. It feels like it just, and also just like from the very beginning of the Dubai mission where you're like skydiving in and you're on the edge of this massive skyscraper. Just the scale of it feels much grander.
It feels, yeah, it definitely feels that they've gone back to a bigger budget. I don't know how they've done it, whether it's this deal with you know, with Square Enix again or what, but yeah, like full-on cutscenes. Like the story is quite a big deal. And what's kind of interesting is there's definitely some stuff that I can't talk about that I want to talk about right now. But what's interesting is the story does very much play into the setup of the missions, especially on that first playthrough. Like, for example, the Dubai one where you start outside the skyscraper and you've got like nothing on you. You've got like no equipment and you've just got your skydiving suit. He does change into like a Hitman Agent 47 suit quite quickly, but I'm kind of skirting around stuff because there's stuff I know that I can't say, but it does kind of inform, the story informs your approach and your entry into these missions and kind of what you start with. Obviously, as usual, once you've done it a few times, you do unlock, you know, mastery levels where you can hide stuff, start in different locations and that kind of thing. But yeah, the story is definitely a pretty big deal. And it's good as well. And the story, from what I've seen,
Can we talk a bit about the Dartmoor mission in the house?
We can. I'll get to that in a second. There's just one more thing I wanted to highlight that is kind of a weird addition that I'm not sure how much I am keen on it. Is the permanent shortcuts. There's kind of like a weird element now where you can unlock. I think I like it, where you can unlock shortcuts that are then permanent for next playthroughs.
No, so it's gone like the Soulsborne route.
Yeah, it's like a weird like Dark Souls thing. So like, there's like a ladder that's like, say, in an up position, and once you figure out how to get up there, you can knock the ladder down. But then when you play the mission again, the ladder is always down.
That's kind of interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about it.
I don't know how I feel about it either, but there's definitely been times in previous Hitman missions where I've been like, oh, it's such a pain to like,
yeah, right,
have to go all the way around to do this thing. Like Sapienza, like, bless its heart, I love it, and I played it a lot in this Hitman 3 version because it's like my favorite level. But you do always have to go and destroy that virus, and there's not that many ways to do it. So the thing you'd always do is you destroy the virus, then you create a save, and then you just keep reloading that save to get different targets. That's how I did it. So I think it makes sense in theory. I quite like it. There've been a bit more, I guess, structural changes. I mean, visually is a huge step up.
Yeah, it looks great.
The Dubai mission is very shiny. You like walk up the steps when you're inside, and it's like loads of reflections and the sunlight coming through the glass and that kind of thing. It's always amazing to think, because I was replaying Blood Money earlier this year, as I'm sure I bored you all with before.
It was an experience.
It still feels the same. Like the soul of Hitman is still there. And some moments when you're like shimmying maybe a little bit awkwardly along the outside of the building, you're like, I could imagine doing this in Blood Money, but like it's amazing that it has this amount of gorgeous presentation.
There's been a death at Thornbridge Manor.
And so the second level I also wanted to talk briefly about, we have much less footage for this one because, I don't know, that's what they said, is Dartmoor, which is like this English country manor. I put less time into this one, but it's probably one of my favorite levels of the entire trilogy, I think.
Yeah, the elevator pitch for this one, since I've seen it played a few different times now, playable Knives Out? Is that really off base?
No, not at all. You've seen Knives Out, right?
Yeah, it's good.
Well, yeah. So the idea of this one is you don't have to play it this way in the slightest, but it's very pushed towards you as a possibility, because like you're tracking down this lady and she's having like a fake funeral, and like the entire like rich English family is like come home from like it is very Knives Out-y. There's like the son with like
spoiled son,
the spoiled son, like the daughter-in-law, like the annoying grandson, and they've got this detective because the lady's brother, so like the grandson's granddad, there's like 3 generations going on here, died in his sleep, and they suspect foul play, and there's a detective like outside the gates, and you can like follow him and like disguise as the detective. And then there's like a whole separate system that uses the camera to like scan evidence and stuff, and you actually go around and you talk to the family members, and you like get their alibi, get their opinion on what's going on, and you get prompted to like find little nooks and crannies and secrets. You can basically solve this whole murder and unravel this whole family conspiracy, and it does provide you with some alternate ways of ending it that you might not have expected. I'm not gonna spoil it.
Yeah, I was
it grabbed me more than I thought, and there's a bit more going on than you'd expect as well. It's almost like playing this whole like different game within a game.
Yeah, like it is a big shift, but it still feels undeniably Hitman. But it's just it's really compelling. It's a pretty good indication for the rest of the game, because I was hooked by that level.
Yeah, it's this manor and the grounds, and it kind of does play into the Hitman 3 theme that I got from those first 2 levels of like the story kind of allows you to do some things that are quite different to Hitman. Like in the first mission, there's like a section, the Dubai mission, there's like kind of the idea that Lucas Gray wants to maybe confront these people before you do your thing, and that and then you punt them with an apple like I did.
So good! Oh my god, that is my favorite like takedown. It's like she got Lucas Gray being like, "I only came here to watch you to die, Agent 47," and then like Oscar popped up as Agent 47, just
finish it.
Yeeted an apple and knocked out one of them. The other guy was like, "Oh my god!" And it was
it was such like
a sword at him. It was so good.
It'd be such a slapstick kind of game. I think I do actually have footage of that I'm allowed to share.
Oh please.
But yeah, there's definitely this promise of like you can do these quite different things, and it's also interesting from sort of an IO interactive perspective as well, because this is the end of the trilogy. What are they going to do next? They could maybe do a detective game. They are doing a James Bond game, that kind of thing. The camera is kind of like a little more like a gadget, I guess. I mean, 47's always had weird gadgets like exploding golf balls and rubber ducks. And there's
can you take that whole scanning the environment thing into other levels? Is that a new thing that you
can
do?
take the camera into any level.
Sweet.
So do you reckon there'll be future levels where you can approach them in a different way to you normally do in Hitman?
Potentially. I haven't tried the camera that much in the previous levels, so I'm not 100% sure how that works. I think you're gonna definitely just take photos. At least. I think some of the biggest changes are going to be with Hitman VR, which I've not gone hands-on with, but we did just have a big talk with IO about what went into making VR. That almost sounds like it's making even bigger changes to previous levels, because it's got this whole different physics system where you can like fling bodies around or like literally hide and shoot underneath desks and that kind of thing. So that sounds like great fun. But yeah, just to wrap up Dartmoor, like it's the English manor and like kind of some of the grounds and stuff, and it does feel great to just walk around and like pick through the grass to find evidence and that kind of thing. Obviously there's completely different ways you can take on that mission as well, which I won't go into but there's some pretty wild ones, as you'd expect.
Like, what I'm so struck by, as with, all of the games in this trilogy, is like, you would think it would be really easy to get overwhelmed by everything you could do, but throughout the series, the developer has done a really good job of being like, ooh, what's this over here? Here's a scavenger hunt over here. Like, follow that. Like, there's so much, like, it guides you without you feeling like you're, kind of spoon-fed what to do. It feels like, oh, I discovered this. Now I'm following the story. The
mission stories can really ease you in, and then like part of that process, then you begin to learn the map and learn things. So you might be playing the detective mission, and then you'll be like, oh, now I'm poking around. I've noticed there's like a secret corridor between this room and that room, and there's like a peephole, and maybe I can like get in and then hide and then sort of jump out or something like that. And it makes me really excited for the other levels in the game, which I can't talk about, but they promise a similar kind of it leaves it open with like the possibility space of how you will be coming into these missions based on the story.
I was just wondering, because you mentioned, have you played the older levels in this new engine? Have you gone back?
Yeah. It looks nicer.
You can take the new gadgets, can you? Take the camera back.
You can take the camera, you can take, so just like normal, like all the different mastery levels will unlock different tools, like the lockpick Mark III and that kind of thing, and then you can take all those back. If you're starting a new save file on Hitman 3, you obviously don't have all of the gadgets from before, but you can then obviously, if you wanted to, you could go back to the Hitman 1 level, unlock like the electronic lockpick, move forward to Hitman 3, that kind of thing. I haven't seen the full finished PS5 file size, but they have said on PC it's a smaller file size than Hitman 2, even with all the levels or something. So there's definitely some optimization that seems to have gone into the game. I definitely like the premise of them carrying all those levels forward, especially, you know, with the move to PS5. Like everything will be on PS5 now. I'm excited for what they do next. I'm a bit disappointed that this trilogy is ending, but like it had to end somewhere. And I think from the first 2 levels I played, it's going to be a very strong ending, I think.
Do you get a sense of where the ending's going?
Well,
because we had a chat with the actor in the summer, and he was coy about what happens to Agent 47 in this.
I'm honestly not sure. I think I had a better idea of where it was going at the end of Hitman 2 than I do 2 missions in to this.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Which I think is a good sign. There's definitely a lot going on. And I really like how that story, you feel, I think in Hitman 3 more than the other Hitmens, you feel this presence of the story and what you're doing overall within the context of Hitman 2 actually, I think, did get a bit better about that, especially in is it the A New Life mission, or is that the Blood Money one? The Suburban mission.
Oh, the Suburban.
The Suburban mission. But it definitely continues to evolve and build on that, so you feel like the things you're doing in the mission have like story relevancy. I mean, Blood Money was like not like that at all. I love it, but Blood Money was very much like, here's these random missions, and then all of a sudden...
I felt a bit like that in Hitman 1 on PS4. I felt like I was just playing through vignettes of awesome levels rather than a cohesive story.
Yeah, I think that improved in Hitman 2, and I think it's improving more in Hitman 3. Or improving if that's what you want from the series, but I think it's definitely interesting, and it affects how you approach those missions, as I said. And that's one of the things I'm most excited about, is seeing how the story will demand you approach these missions first off. It's definitely more interesting than Hitman always showing up, always in status quo mode, you know? Like a Blood Money, where he always shows up at the beginning of the mission, he's in his suit, or whatever. He's got all of his resources. Here it's very much like, Hitman might not have his resources. Well, Agent 47, I keep calling him Hitman. He is the Hitman, so
he is the Hitman.
Yeah, I mean that's about it. I wish I could, tell you more than I'm allowed, which I can't. Thinking about it puts a smile on my face, and then that should tell you something.
Yeah, yeah. It's very much. So far, it very much feels the same kind of like puzzle/comedy game, that you've come to know and love through the other entries in the series.
Yeah. At this point, I've not played beyond the first 2 levels, but I have played over like 6 hours of Hitman 3 in one way or another. I'm looking forward to playing more, finishing it off, and we're doing like a big review in the next issue.
I can't wait.
Covering both the PS5 version and the VR version, so that's sure to be good. We've done a lot of coverage on the VR version before, which I think might have been this is the issue that's just about to be on sale, like nowish.
At time of recording,
where we interviewed them about the process.
Yeah, so detail-wise, that's issue 184 on sale now. Okay, on sale 9th of Feb. Issue 185 will have our final review.
That'll be the review about the PS5 version and how it plays on PS4 and the VR version. So that's like a lot of content. And then 184, the one on sale now-ish, that's got a deep dive into how the VR version was made with, IO Interactive. My first impressions of Hitman 3 then, in a word, good.
Is that all?
In a sentence, what you'd expect from a third game, ... and maybe more.
Oh wow! But in terms of a part 3, what is it? Is it Godfather Part 3, or is it Back to the Future Part 3? What's your part?
I think 3? It's very much The Dark Knight Rises.
Oh, interesting. Well, that's controversial, isn't it?
I've not played enough of the game to say for sure, but it feels like a Dark Knight Rises in a surprisingly I think the comparison works. I think you'll all see what I mean.
Okay,
Right.
that is a choice to make.
It's not
I'm just being silly mostly. There's no Bane in the game that I'm aware of. No, I know of.
I wonder if they're going to sneak a little Bond in now at the end.
Agent 47, your target is this posh toff.